Hey guys, it's Cooper Gretsch here from Kick It to Scoops. I am the sole admin of AFL information, trade rumours and results. You want to be part of the show, Kick It to Scoops? Send through your questions through the Facebook link, which I'll attach every show on the post. And if you want to email me at aflinfolive@gmail.com, send through your questions and you may feature on the show and be answered your question from yours truly, Cooper Gretsch, for free. Yes, for free. If you want to be on the show, as I said, send it through and I'll get back to you. Go Saints! Too easy this is. Kick It to Scoops.
Hello everyone and welcome to Kick It to Scoops. I'm your host Cooper Gretsch, the sole admin of AFL information, trade rumours and results. Hopefully everyone here in the chat tonight is going to acknowledge me. You're going to hear that a lot, not just tonight and in last few weeks. You can hear that saying acknowledge me for a long, long time. By the way, while I'm at it, get your Acknowledge Me t-shirts for $25 on the website, on the merch link, which is attached in this current video. Get your merch today. There's not only mugs, not only the Acknowledge Me t-shirts, there's plenty of other t-shirts. The Fend Off, Premier's top, Grand Final top. There's mugs, there's stubby holders, there's stickers, there's the hoodie. Very good hoodie. Recommend you guys to get that. Stubby holders, I'm probably forgetting something. There's so much merch. Get your merch today. Also, while I'm at it, you want me on Cameo? I'm still on Cameo 24/7. Head to cameo.com/Cooper G. Now, I've got a very, very loaded show for you guys today. The world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. 3 things to rant on about this evening. One is the New South Wales Premier Dominique. Don't care what your last name is either. Commiserations to Gladys. We'll get to that shortly. Toby Green agenda. He's just come through that he's gotten 6 weeks upgraded from 3 to 6 from the appeals board for Toby Green's incident with Matt Stivic during the season. And journos not doing their research, referring to the Luke Dunstan, Tim O'Brien compensation pick discussion. I'm going to go to that soon. 5 season review today, or tonight, of the Hawks, GWS, Collingwood, the Western Bulldogs and the Premiers, Melbourne. We'll go through that soon. Trade talk. The trade period's currently on, running until next Wednesday night at 7:30pm. I'm going to have a long, lengthy discussion of trade talk and the confirmed deals that have come through. Now, as of this recording, we're in the mid-afternoon. So if any deals come through, and I haven't mentioned it during this recording, I'll leave it in the comments section below. So any additional trades that have gone through after I've recorded this, if that does happen. But a lot happening today. We're going to go through every single trade one by one and any potential future trades one by one. And of course, you've wanted it, you've now got it. Another interview with someone, an ex-AFL player, a current footballer, media, Bev, anyone like that. Wow. The winner of season 1 of The Recruit, Johan Wagner, who went to the Port Adelaide Footy Club, was on the rookie list for 1 year. 1 year is better than none. You're going to see my chat with Johan Wagner. I appreciate Yoey for, coming on the show. He's a great guy. We go through a whole range of topics, including his thoughts on Michael Voss getting the Carlton job, why he chose Port Adelaide over the Gold Coast Suns and GWS, through a whole other range of topics. His local footy, what he's doing now, his time at Port Adelaide, time on The Recruit, working with Ben Dixon and plenty of others. Michael Voss also, who was on the show, and a lot of the topics with Yoey. We'll get to that later in the show. But now it's time for the world-famous segment, Scoops goes bang. Yeah, bang, bang. New South Wales. Cases are declining, which is good. Vaccination rates going up. That's what you want. But I want to go political for just this one more time. Well, potentially one more time. Gladys Berejiklian. Now, I'm not going to go into the discussions of this ICAC investigation on her, but what I will say is commiserations to Gladys Berejiklian for not no longer being the New South Wales Premier. You've known for a long time I'm not being a fan of Gladys, and I never will. But what I'll say is commiserations to Gladys. She's provided a lot of entertainment over time, made a lot of stupid calls, and been ousted by some journos in Sydney. But it's the end of an era for Gladys Berejiklian, and probably her getting mentioned on this show. There we go. So yeah, Gladys. The time is over for Gladys. But I want to say this: all the best, Gladys. Let's put it this way. Now, people know I'm not a big fan of Gladys, but no, I'm not. But the new person in charge, the new Premier of New South Wales, Dominic, I'm going to call him. I don't give a shit what his last name is either. This guy is just as bad as Gladys, if you can get worse than Gladys. This guy has changed restrictions, gone against the roadmap, gone against the health advice, no matter what he says, and he was ousted today by a journo saying, why is Kerry Chen on this press? He's changed the press conference, he's updated the roadmap, he's made stupid changes, he's upgraded, doubled the size for certain indoor limits and everything. So to tell me that he's following health advice, which he says he is, which is absolute bullshit, why would Dr. Chen and co, who have been hesitant to relax rules and upgrade restrictions to, what people want, slowly but surely, he's just gone, ripped the Band-Aid off, going, stuff this, I'm going to do what I want. I thought Gladys was bad. This Dominic geek, he is absolutely terrible. I'd be embarrassed, and dare I say it, bring back Gladys. Bring back Gladys. Or someone else, not this geek. Right. Now, so to Dominic, lift your game. Absolute tool. Now, back to AFL topics for Scoops Goes Bang. The Toby Green agenda. It's just come through that Toby Green's appeals board has been upgraded from 3 matches to 6. Really? 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 The Toby Green agenda, this is. Now, Kane Corns calls it the Toby tax. This is the Toby Green agenda. This is bullshit. He gets suspended now. Now, I mean, yes, he does play over the top, but I could name you many of examples, and one I'm going to name to you right now, Joel Selwood and Tom Hawkins, 2 actually, Joel Selwood and Tom Hawkins, 2 players that get in similar incidents to Toby Green and amount of incidents like Toby Green. If Joel Selwood or Tom Hawkins or anyone else that gets gifted through the match review officers and the AFL, if they had done what Toby Green had done, we wouldn't be talking 6 weeks. Would we be talking 3? No. Would we be talking 2? No. Would we be talking 1? Doubtful. Would we be talking 0? More than likely. Would he have been fine? Would they have been freaking spoken about? Probably not. Probably. But nothing would have come out of it. Because it's Toby Green, he's copped 3, then plus another 3 to make it 6. Crap decision, ridiculous decision. Now, I understand that you can't touch an umpire and everything. That's all well and fair. But trust me, guarantee you right now, if this was not Toby Green and it was Joel Selwood or Tom Hawkins or anyone else that gets looked after, it would not have been 6 weeks. Absolute disgrace to the AFL Appeals Board and whoever made this judgment that it was 6 weeks. Lift your game. What a joke. The Toby Green agenda. Now, journo's not doing their research. Now, people are going to tell me, oh, that's me. Well, no. There's a few in particular. John Ralph. Now, I'm not saying what he does in general is bad, but this particular thing he's absolutely wrong about. And there's a few others, but he's the one who's done it twice. Talking about Luke Dunstan and Tim O'Brien saying that they were both delisted. Oh, Johnny. And there's plenty of others in this boat as well, not just John Ralph, but these are one that I could recall. Luke Dunstan was not delisted. It was told to explore his opportunities elsewhere. For anyone in the chat also that's saying that he was delisted and that Tim O'Brien was delisted, neither were delisted. Dunstan was told to look for opportunities elsewhere. He's now found it at Melbourne on a 2-year deal, which we'll talk trade-related stuff soon. But he got a 2-year deal at Melbourne. Now, I'm not saying he's maybe worth a combo pick, but it depends on the years, the age, the money in the contract. Look, I'm not saying they're both worth a combo pick, but John and other journos and other so-called experts that think he was delisted, he was not delisted. Dunstan was told to explore his opportunities. Tim O'Brien was not currently offered a contract. So they were not delisted. Whether you think they were going to be delisted had another club not wanted them, they were not delisted. So to Johnny and the co, lift your game. Pathetic. And then on Trade Radio also, I had mentioned to them that they were not Tim O'Brien at the time, but I said Luke Dunstan not delisted. And they're like, that it didn't happen. That it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter because they weren't delisted. So get your facts right. Lift your game as well. Right. I hope you guys enjoy that long edition of Scoops Use Bang. Now leave a like on the channel if you like the Scoops Use Bang. And if you didn't like it, still give it a thumbs up anyway. It helps out the channel immensely. Leave a like. I say in every live stream, leave a like. It costs you guys absolutely nothing. If you want more content from me, you want to see me more out there, you want more people to get into my content, leave a like, share the video, leave a comment, tag your mates on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, wherever you may be following me, and on here on the YouTube, just leave a like. Now, I'm going to go through some season reviews of 5 clubs today: the Hawks, the Giants, the Pies, the Dogs, and the Demons. But let's start things off with the Hawks. Now, the Hawks season review report card. My review for the Hawks. The highlights of the year for the Hawks were their end of season form, which was pretty good. I know they had a draw against Richmond in the last game, but this season, at the end of the year, when Clarko was probably told he was being let go, they went in Tassie against the Bulldogs. There were some good wins for the Hawks in the back half of the year, some promising signs for them. Some lowlights, though, were some bad losses early. But I suppose if a young, inexperienced side, it was bound to happen. Dunstan was injured all year, but played only one game. They got spanked by the Saints. It wasn't a great result for them. So, yeah. Some trade and draft. Now, I was going to get into that more detail in that. In terms of them, Max Lynch could be someone to take a young ruck from the Pies. Yeah, they need some midfield and forward depth, particularly a small forward. I mean, they need support probably for Tim O'Brien's out now, so they probably need a that replacement. They got Michael Hartley got delisted, Keegan Brooksby got delisted. So there's some players, the tall department, they may need to go on. They got Ned Reeves and Ben McAvoy. Johnny Seglick may be out. So, yeah, they're going to have to sort things out there. Yeah, so that's the Hawks. And then where are we? Players who disappointed and impressed for me for the Hawks. Some impressive players for the Hawks, outside of some of the obvious ones like Tom Mitchell. I'd also like to include Dylan Moore in that. Got a new contract. He deserved it. Yeah, so Dylan Moore was pretty good, particularly in the back half of the year. And CJ Giath, some players that disappointed. James Warple, he had some pretty good games, but he had some poor ones and wasn't as consistent as his previous year. My overall grading for the Hawks, before I get to that actually, is Finn McGuinness, signed a 2-year deal as of today, and Daniel Howe, who screwed over Tommy Mitchell for being a joint winner of the Scoops Medal, the home and away edition. He has signed a 1-year deal at the Hawks. My overall grading for the Hawks for season 2021 is a C. The back half was pretty good. The start was pretty poor. Balance that out with the young, experienced side, so we'll go with this grading of a C. Okay, now we'll move on to the next side when we go through, which is, where are we? I've almost lost my screen, is the Giants. Now, the Giants, they had a pretty good year. They made finals. Some of the highlights for them, though, was making the finals. There's some good wins, including the 1-point elimination win against their arch rivals in the Sydney Swans. It was pretty good for them. And there, the low lights, though, for them was some average losses. They even had some scrappy wins against the Blues. I recall it a Marvel, I think it was. Good win. It was a win, but not a great win. Where are we? Some trade and draft takers. They re-signed a lot of players yesterday. Matty Flynn, Callum Brown, Will Shaw. There was 5. Daniel Lloyd. And there was a 5th one. Lloyd, Shaw, Brown, and Riccardi on a 2-year deal. Flynn and Riccardi got 2 years. The rest that I just mentioned have got a 1-year deal. So some players there. Jake Steen and Zach Sproul, I expect to sign 1-year deals. And Matty Flynn. Kieran Briggs is assessing his options, but still more than likely to stay. With Mumford set to retire. There's still no official announcement of Big Mummify. So they need some key forward depth. Jeremy Finlayson's gone out to the Power, which we'll get to it shortly. But yeah, they just need key forward depth. Himmelberg is playing as a key forward. Riccardi, they've been playing all over the place. Again, even if he was there, he's only medium size. They had Cameron go out, so they haven't really got a major replacement. They place Zach Sproul there occasionally, but they still need a key position guy there. Some players that impressed and disappointed. Some players that impressed are the Giants: Lockie Whitfield, Toby Green, Timmy Taranto, and the guy that made the rolling All-Australian team, or the All-Australian team for me, Isaac Cumming. Really underrated is Isaac Cumming. Wish the AFL would actually recognise someone who is outside of a Victorian club. That'd be swell. Some players are disappointed. Phil Davis, purely part of it's injury related, of course, but he's a great player. He was a great captain for them, a co-captain, but to be disappointed. Phil's going on next year. We've got another year to go, maybe 2, says the GWS. My overall grading for the GWS Giants for season 2021 is a B. Now we'll move on to the Pies. I know there's some people in the chat that are big Pies fans. So Pies fans, get ready. Drink your cold beverage, as some would say, or drink your coffee, drink your whatever, or have your popcorn ready, Pies fans, because it's a big one. And Bulldogs and Demons fans to come also. Collingwood, the Pies. The highlights for them this year was a good win against the eventual premiers in the Collingwood Football Club. Sorry, I not jump the gun. The Pies, no, you did not win the premiership, the Demons. A good win against the eventual premiers Melbourne. Sorry, Pies fans. Which was Bucks' last game as coach. Some lowlights was some early season form under Bucks. The treatment of Bucks was absolutely crap. It could have been handled a lot better. Some trade and draft targets, some mid and forward support. They're obviously going to get Pat Lipinski, which we'll get to shortly. But yeah, they just need some mid and forward support, key forward support with Mason Cox potentially going out. Some players who impressed and disappointed. Some players that impressed was the eventual BNF winner, Jack Crisp, with his crisp disposal. Had to get that one in there. I haven't said that for a while. Braden Maynard, another great year. Jordan Ruffin in defence was also good. Their backline's pretty good. And Darcy Moore when he wasn't injured. So some players are disappointed. I put only one here, and it was only really for his first half of the year, was Jordan DeGoey. People were going to say Grundy, but Grundy was still solid, just he has high expectations. DeGoey's second half, though, to his credit, was very, very good. Pies fans, my overall grading for the Pies is a C. Now, Dogs fans, doggies, bark. Bev, if you're tuning in, mate, you will be waiting for this. So I know you have because you've told me. So, yeah, the season review for the Bulldogs, obviously the highlights for the Bulldogs are making the grand final. The lowlights, though. Now, people are going to say Cooper, they made the grand final. How could this be the case? Well, it was. The facts prove it. The season form slump towards, I think it was around the round 17 range. They were inconsistent, but yes, they ended up making the finals. They scraped over against Brisbane, which they shouldn't have. But yeah, season form slump. And the other lowlights was their arrogance after the preliminary final win against the Power. I did say it at the time, and people were like, oh, they still made the grand final. But Melbourne didn't carry on, and then Melbourne went coming back on them, which I mentioned last week. And, of course, another lowlight was the big grand final loss in bad fashion. After Caleb Daniel dropped Gawn, then Melbourne dropped the Bulldogs. Some trade targets. They need ruckman. Tim English is not a ruckman. Stephen Martin's got 1 year left, and he was injured for most of this year. Jordan Sweet's only a backup ruckman who might not even be there at the end of the year. Key defenders, Zane Cordy and Ryan Gardner, they're not really your main options. Like, they might be okay for depth, but they shouldn't be if they're going to be in the side, they shouldn't be your main 2 key defenders. I know Alex Keith was there, but again, he was injured. He's fine, but they need some depth there regardless, because your depth is playing right now. So they definitely need some key defenders there. They need to bolster that and the ruck. Otherwise, they're not going to go anywhere. I know they made the grand final, but to be a better team and well balanced like Melbourne with Lever and May and Gawn and Oliver and players like that, and then you got Benny Brown up forward and the co. And they don't have that in the overall. So they got the midfield, they got the forwards, some forwards. But yeah, they need to sort out the ruck situation and the key defenders, and it doesn't look like they're going to sort it out at the trade period either. They did bring in Tim O'Brien though, so that could be a swingman, play as a defender. That could be the one that pushes Cordy and Gardner out of the team. Although he could even play as an intercept defender. But what's that mean for Bailey Williams and co? So he could, where he fits in, he could play forward though as well. So maybe with Bruce here for most of next year, he may play there temporarily. Some players who impressed and disappointed. Impressed, the Scoops medal winner, Jackson McRae and Cody Waitman, small forward. Some players are disappointed. I mentioned Zane Cordy's probably one. Had some okay moments, but again, it's disappointing. And Tim English, also just mentioned, we're disappointed there. For the overall grade for the Bulls, and people are going to say, Cooper, they made the granny. Cooper, they made finals. Cooper, how can you almost grade someone else better than them when they didn't make finals or didn't come close to the grand final? Well, my overall grading for the Western Bulldogs is a B-. You can go, Cooper, they made the granny, as I said. Well, they had some inconsistency in the form. They beat Essendon in the last quarter in that elimination final. They got gifted the game against the Brisbane Lions. And to their credit, they smashed the Bulldogs. And then they got smashed. The Bulldogs got smashed in the granny by, not the Bulldogs. They smashed the Power in the prelim. But they got smashed by the Demons in the granny. So some inconsistencies all around despite making the granny. So my overall granny, as I said, is a B-. Dogs fans, Bev, I know you'd be angry. That's my opinion, and everyone has it. Demons fans, get ready. The final season review for season 2021 is of course the premiers in the Melbourne Football Club. The highlights for the Melbourne Footy Club was obviously winning the grand final and in dominant fashion, and the dominance against so many teams this year. Geelong they smacked in the first week of finals. In the prelim, they smacked the Lions at the LLO in the first week of finals. They had smacked some really strong teams or teams that made finals. They had some good wins throughout the year as well, of course. Some lowlights. There wasn't really many lowlights from a team point of view. They did have a little form slump for about 3 weeks. They were winning games. They lost Adelaide. That's probably a lowlight in Adelaide. People can say it was a Nick Murray deliberate, but whatever. You won the granny now, so it doesn't matter. I think you'll take the loss in that game instead of winning that game and then losing the granny instead. So, but the lowlights other than that loss to Adelaide I've got here is injuries to Adam Tomlinson and no Nathan Jones. Purely to form and the birth of his child. But yeah, that's out of club's control. Nathan wasn't a regular this year. Played over 300 games and now he's retired, so well done to him. But it was a low light, I suppose, not having him and Tomlinson out there. Some trade and draft targets. They brought in Luke Dunstan, which I'll get to shortly. They had depth in the ruck. They need a Magic Dawson for another year. Luke Jackson's not a number one ruckman. So if Max Gawn was to get injured, you're not going to play Luke Jackson as your main ruck for 90% of the game. And then Magic Daw is only a backup, and he's not really. He's dominating the ruck in the KC in the VFL. But again, he's not really a number one ruck option either. He's only one of those. He's one of those 20% ruck, 80% forward type players like Luke Jackson is. So they need some ruck depth. Don't think they'll get any. So they want to hope that Max Gawn doesn't go down with injury. There's some players that impressed and disappointed for the Demons. Impressed, there was a lot, but I've written down 4 here. Max Gawn, Clayton Oliver, Ed Langdon, and Benny Brown. Now, people say, Ben Brown? Well, when he played, he was good. He was injured. Some form slump. Dominated the VFL when he was playing. I thought he was pretty good. Disappointed. Nathan Jones and Neville Jetta. Well, their form was, to be honest, pretty poor. They're both retired. Jetta's now joined Collingwood as a development coach. But, you know, they both retired. They both had good careers in Melbourne. They stuck through the not just the good times now, but through the low times. So it's credit to those two for not jumping ship. A lot of players do. Now, my overall grading for the Melbourne Football Club, the 2021 Premiers, my grading for the Melbourne Footy Club, I don't know why I mentioned Brisbane. The grading for the Melbourne Football Club, the 2021 Premiers, the 2021 season review from yours truly, Cooper Gretsch, the sole admin of AFL Information Trade Rumors in Results, is an A. Not A+, A-, but an A. The reason they weren't given the plus is because the little 3 or 4 week patch. But they won the premiership, so that's good for them. Let me know your thoughts, Demons fans, Pies fans, Giants fans, Hawks fans, Dogs fans, your thoughts on my season review, or any other club fans for that matter, on those 5 club season reviews. Now, that's all the season reviews I've done. So for people that want to tell me, oh, Cooper, you haven't done them all, I have. I've done them all 18 clubs. Go check out the last 3 or 4 weeks of videos, and you'll see your reviews there. We've done 5 this week, 5 last week, and the other 8 spread out, I think, over 4 weeks after that, before that. Those 5-5, 2-2-2, something like that. So, yeah, enjoy that. 2-2-2-2. If you want to go check them out for your clubs, go check back the previous videos. Share the video too, please, and leave a like on the channel. Now, we're going to move on to the trade talk. A long, lengthy discussion here of the trade talk. Now, I'm going to go through the confirmed deals and my thoughts on that. Then I'll go through the rest. That's how we'll play it. Now, the very first one was the free agency move of Jake Kelly. The Crow is now a Bomber. It's a free agent, 3-year deal. And they received pick 42, the Crows, a 3rd-round pick for compensation. Last Friday, Marby Shoal went to the Gold Coast, as did Jake Kelly, went to Essendon on the Friday. Marby Shoal to the Gold Coast is an unrestricted free agent on a 4-year deal. Essendon Richmond received a end of 2nd-round pick, which was pick 38. The next one to fall on Friday was a free agency bid for George Hewitt. Carlton signed George Hewitt on a 4-year deal as a restricted free agent, not unrestricted, restricted. Swans couldn't match, but they opted not to, and received an end of 2nd-round compo pick, which is currently 39. Now, that's all the free agency moves that are official, locked, and loaded. Now, we're going to go through some of the trades that happened. Well, there was another free agency move, but 2, but we'll get to that shortly. The first trade that went through was a pick swap between the Collingwood Football Club and the Gold Coast Suns. Now, I'm just trying to find it in front of me. Did I not? Just bear with me, guys. Here it is. Okay. It was a pick swap between the Pies and the Suns. Now, I'm going to go through that in detail. The Pies received from the Gold Coast pick 22, 46, 58, 79, and a future 4th, which we'll get to in a sec. And Gold Coast received a future 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounders. Now, people go, I know for a fact this is a great deal for both sides. Gold Coast have only got 3 list spots they're going to use. So they've got pick 3, I think, in the moment, and a few other picks around that mark. So they don't need all those other picks. So they gave the Pies. Pies need a lot of current picks for matching bids for Nick Dacos. They need points. There's the reason. That's what some people go, 58, 69, 79. They're not going to use any of them. Well, they will use it as matching bids because you need to accumulate some points. So the points ranking system, for example, I'll make a hypothetical points number up. For example, pick 1, it could be worth, say, 1,500 points. And then you go all the way to 50, it could be worth 200 points, right? So then you balance the picks out. So if there was to be a bid, for example, for Dacos to pick 1, and I'll say 1,500 points, Pies would need to have 1,500 worth of points. So therefore, you're going to accumulate all your picks together. So the more picks you have is better than having, say, a higher one. Say you, from a points point of view, you're better off having 3 and 6 over 1. So that's just one example. But yeah, it works for both sides. As I said, list spots only going to take 3 picks, so they don't need them. And they gained an extra future 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounder on top of what they have already. Now, the next thing we're going to go through here is, where are we? I've just got my screen back up. Yeah, so the next move was Nathan Kruger, the first player trade from Geelong to the Pies. Geelong received pick 41 from the Pies, and Collingwood received Nathan Kruger and pick 55. Fair deal. Kruger hardly played a game for Geelong in his 3 or 4 years there. Pies get another key position forward who can play back, but Pies will use him as a key forward. They need some depth options up there. I mean, he'll provide that. He's a big guy, and he'll go to the Pies on a 3-year deal. So, even trade there, I suppose. The next one we'll go through is Luke Dunstan to the Melbourne Football Club as an unrestricted free agent, Ralphie. unrestricted free agent, other journos, unrestricted free agent. Now, as of this recording, the combo pick has not been revealed. There may not be a combo pick, but Luke Dunstan has signed a 2-year deal at Melbourne Footy Club. And Luke, I'll point out, have fun playing at Casey, mate. Have fun. You could have chosen the Gold Coast, and there was some reports coming in now. It's funny that reports came out now that if he went to the Gold Coast, he would have been told that had they started losing games, that they would prioritise the kids in the midfield over him. Funny how when there was no other options, no one said that. Then magically, when Melbourne, the talk of he was going to Melbourne, that journalists wanted to run with, it was because he wasn't going to get a game if that Gold Coast declined towards the back end of the year. I don't believe that for 1 second. So, Luke Dunstan from the Saints has joined Melbourne as an unrestricted free agent. The next trade to go through was Jeremy Finlayson to the Port Adelaide Footy Club. Compassionate reasons. He had 2 years ago on a Giants deal. He's got a 3-year deal at the Power. Provide some key forward depth and backup for ruck depth. And GWS received a future third. And people go, he's worth more than that, which he is. But Port Adelaide clearly are paying some of his wage, most of it. So GWS balanced it out that way. Good trade for the Power. Some good depth options. Peter Laddens will get to shortly, maybe out anyway. So you got Finlayson, Marshall, Georgiades, Dixon. I'd be pretty happy with that if I was a Power fan. And for a future third in overall, pretty good for the Power. The next one to go through was the 4-team mega trade. Melbourne, St Kilda, Western Bulldogs, and the Crows. Again, some of these picks are for how do I put it? For point reasons for the Saints and the Bulldogs. Melbourne are doing it to get into the first round this year, and Adelaide get into the first round next year. So overall, now, first I'm going to say what the club's got, and then I'm going to say what your club gave up in this one, because this is a long one. So Melbourne gained pick 17, 37, and 49. Three solid picks. The Western Bulldogs received pick 23, 44, 45. That's what they received. Again, some pretty good picks there. The Crows received pick 33, a future first of Melbourne's, and a future fourth. The Saints received pick 62, 66, and a future fourth. Right, so essentially, the Crows have given up 37, and Crows are giving up 37, 23, and 44, and 75. Sorry, no, take that back. 23, 44, and 37. And, yeah, so they did pretty well. All clubs, Melbourne and Bulldogs and St Kilda, did it for points reasons, so it works out well. I mean, Melbourne essentially gave up a future first. Sorry, got a future first. Hang on, this makes no sense. Missed Redden. I already knew this, but this way it was put in this graph on the AFL, it's confused me a little bit. So Melbourne received pick 17, essentially gave their future first for 17. Now they wanted to get into this year's draft. And they got 37, 49 as well from Adelaide and St Kilda. Bulldogs did it for points reasons. I just went through the 23, 44, 45. So they'll be happy with that. And they lost pick 17 is the main pick, but we weren't going to use it because once they can match a bid on Sam Darcy, your father-son, they're going to lose that pick and it would bump back. So there's no point in having it and get into some later picks to accumulate more points for Sam Darcy when that bid comes. And the Crows, they did pretty well. They got a future first. They could say they're going to do it for Lukosius and Rankin next year, or try to by having 2 first-rounders next year. Wait and see. But regardless, and they could trade it still, but as of right now they haven't, so they keep that there. And the Saints, people go, they lost points. What people don't realise and fail to understand sometimes, like some of the journos on trading day on the Fox Footy, they try to shit on St Kilda for doing nothing, letting Dunstan going, how could you let him go? Well, he's a ball butcher. Stars of people now. Ralphie saying Dunstan's an okay kick. Please, Ralphie, come on. You've spewed a few opinions, fair enough, but terrible opinions, Ralphie. Sorry. 62 and 66 have come in a future fourth, basically for 49. So it's an upgrade, or it's a downgrade on the number, but an upgrade, and not so in points, but overall time, they might use 66 for Tristan Cherry. They might use the future fourth for Cherry. from North Melbourne. So it'll work out way. And then on draft night, you can trade it. You can still trade draft picks after the trade period. So St Kilda's obviously warming something up there. So it won't stay like that. I'll be shocked if it does. But yeah, that's what it is. So that's a 4-club pick swap, make a trade. The highlights was Melbourne getting pick 17. It was a pick swap earlier today between the Dockers and the Pies. Collingwood received pick 27 and a future third. Freo received pick 22. The first trader today was Will Brodie from the Gold Coast Suns. Fremantle received pick 19, 61 and 69, and Will Brodie. Gold Coast received future second and fourth. Now, as I said earlier about the Suns, they don't need picks for this year. They need it for next year, or they don't need it for next year, but they don't need them for this year. Therefore, you bring them in for next year. Load up there. I think they got like their own first rounder. Then they got 3 second rounders and 2 thirds and 2 fourths or something like that. So pretty well stocked so far, the Suns, for picks next year. They lost Will Brodie, who had a year to go on a long contract, apparently had around 400 to 600,000. Freo are paying all that. So you can say Freo got Will Brodie pick 19, 61, 69. So essentially, Freo took the wage off the Gold Coast, got a tight salary cap. So they took Will Brodie for that. So that's why they got pick 19. The Gold Coast might not have, they probably would have used 19, but they got to pick the future second next year. So see what it is. But that works there for both sides. Fremantle done great training as of Carlton this year, and so have Gold Coast. The next trade of today was, where are we? We got Adam Chera to the Blues. Carlton received Adam Chera on his 22nd birthday. Happy birthday to Adam. On a 4-year deal, Freo received pick 6, which was fair, and a future third. Now, I hinted that it was going to be a future pick 6 and a future second, but that was going to be the case. But that was with the expectation that Carlton would get Chera and a future third back. So they've just balanced it out, not giving Carlton anything else with Chera. So they, instead of getting a second from Carlton, they got a third. So it was one or the other, and that's the way they've gone. Great get for the Blues. Great training from the Dockers. They forced to trade him out because he wanted to go home to Carlton or to Victoria and chose Carlton. Peter Bell and the crew got the job done well here yet again. And Carlton get their man 21 or 22 today, Adam Chera. So be 22 heading into all the next season. One for the future. They got Walsh and Chera and Cripps, George Hewitt. And then you got other players that will float through Ed Curnow, Jackie Nunes. So they've done very well with this trade of the Blues with Adam Chera. Now, some of the other ones that have dropped through, which I'll mention, Sam Petreski-Seaton has gone to West Coast for pick 52. Have fun in the waffle, Sam. To Carlton, get pick 52 for Petreski-Seaton. Lewis Young is technically a 3-way trade, but Lewis Young to Carlton from the Bulldogs, and Bulldogs get that pick 52. Now, that's all the official trades so far. Now, we're going to go through some of the other ones that haven't happened. Jordan Clark, Jordan Dawson, the merry-go-round in the ruck department, and a few other guys I want to go through right now that I have not just mentioned already. Jordan Dawson, we'll get to the Crows, a bit of stalemate with the picks at Adelaide training out pick 17. He could use one of those future firsts, although they might not want to if they want to try and keep it for Lukosius or ranking next year. I think the Crows, it'll get done, but whether the question is, will the Crows get it done through a trade or through the preseason draft? The Swans they offered this guy a 5-year deal when he's worth it, and so did Adelaide on big money, around 600,000. So you want to get something. I think in the end, it's one of those deals where it'll go to the end. Sydney will cave in because now Adelaide got the power. He's out of contract. They can get him in the preseason draft. They got pick 3 or something in the preseason draft, and they can put a price on the player. Club have to pay, which they will, whatever it is, and the other clubs that before them have to try and have the money and have to have the list spot available at the time. So it'll get to the Crows. Not going to go to the Power. He's pretty adamant he's going to the Crows. Lifelong. His idol was Mark Rashudo. They met twice. After he met with them the second time, he went to his house, Rashudo's house, for a barbecue. So he'll be going to the Crows. If it's happening through a trade, I'd say it'd be that future first, and might be something like Dawson and a future third come the Crows way. Dawson and a future third, and the Crows give future first and second, or something like that, or 20, that 23 or whatever it is, and a future second. So I will have to wait and see there. Now, the next one to go through is Jordan Clark. He will get to the Dockers. Talks have progressed well. Said Peter Bell from Fremantle, the GM, that he will get to the Dockers. Geelong will say he's got a year left, he's worth blah, blah, blah. But he will get to the Dockers, probably for a pick around 19 range, 22. I think the Dockers will get their man, and it apparently will be a 4-year deal. Robbie Tarrant will get to Richmond, mostly through a trade. Callum Coleman-Jones went to North. That'll be a part of the deal more than likely. Peter Laddams had met in recent days with the Hawks and the Swans. John Ralph is reporting. Ralphie reported something correctly this time. Is nominated set to join the Swans if he does leave. Power playing a hard ball here. I think he will get to the Swans. They have the cap room now with Dawson out. They pay a bit less than what Dawson was offered to Laddams. He wants to be number one ruck. He ain't doing that with Hickey then. Cal Sinclair's still there, but he'll probably play in the team. He either stays at the Power or the Swans. Port Adelaide keeps saying he's a required player, but you can't say he's a required player and then say he has to be worth the first round pick. Like, you're mixing it up. He's either you want him or you don't. And personally, they don't need him. Where are we going through some more names? Jack Loney's 50-50 has to wait at the end of the trade, along with Dean Kent. Tristan Cherry, young North ruckman, whose contract for another year is nominated the Saints. Well, that will get done, which may spell the end for Paul Hunter, unfortunately for him. Tom Lynch is joining North Melbourne as a development coach. We'll play some VFL footy there. But he may be doing the Tyson Goldsack deal, being named on the AFL rookie list. Tom Clory, Saints has shown interest, but he's more likely to stay now. Mason Cox, he may be one that has to wait. Johnny Segler, interesting one. Hawks, again, got a year to go in his contract to Hawthorn. They want Ned Reeves. They may be bringing in Max Lynch, who will go to Hawthorn. So they want to push Segler out. But Geelong Bulldogs are interested, and he could stay still, John Segler. It had Max Lynch doesn't go to the Hawks, which I think he will, though. John Segler, the Bulldogs are cats for me. I think if Geelong want him, Darcy Fort will then go to Brisbane. So if I'm Geelong, I'd take Jonathan Segler, let Fort go to Brisbane. And then the Bulldogs will have to reassess their ruck options yet again. John Sweet's no guarantee to stay there. West has been linked. To wait and see. I don't know why to go there. Behind that, Yoey as well. You've better chance at the Bulldogs, John Sweet, who St Kilda had shown interest in. I wouldn't rule it out, but very unlikely now. So I think John Segler might end up being a cat when all is said and done. If not, could be at the Bulldogs. Or could he stay? Interesting, but I think more than likely Geelong. Tyson Stingler's a list for free agents. He's got 3 clubs to pick from: Collingwood, Essendon, and Geelong, and maybe Carlton, so that's 4. And Richmond that made that 5. So I think we're going to Geelong. Eddie Betts is now a development coach part-time there, starting Jan 17. Charlie Constable from Geelong, he's absolutely gone. And Stephen Vols pretty much hinted at that. Trent Dumont hasn't got an offer yet from North Melbourne, or we could end up to Adelaide or Port Adelaide as a delisted free agent potentially. Well, Francie ends tomorrow, Friday. Trades end Wednesday night at 7:30. I think Trent Dumont's too good to not be on an AFL list. I think he will stay. And if he does, it looks like it'll only be a 1-year deal. He was injured this year for most of this year, but he's very good in the previous years before this year. So I'd take him at St Kilda happily. It seems like North would just give him away for nothing. If they might not even keep him. So they're Boyd Woodcock for the Powers to wait to the end of the trade period. Mitchell Wallace, I've been saying he's absolutely gone. He's been offered a 1-year deal by the Bulldogs, reluctantly. Hasn't really got much interest, though. Could Essendon be a club or Richmond be a club? I don't know, but the suitors aren't really there. So I feel like if this is a suitor from another club, he's 100% gone. That's my way of train of thought. But if there's no offers, he'll have to cop the Bulldogs 1 year. Pat Lipinski will get to the Pies. That'll be pretty obvious. That could happen as early as tomorrow. Jared Brander is leaving. Well, a bit weird, this one. Is he going to stay? West is going to offer him a contract if no club wants him. Carlton, now, I've been saying that Carlton will get him, more than likely get him, set to get him. But with Lewis Young coming in, he's no guarantee to stay. You could say Geelong were interested last year and the year before in his draft year. Who could say Hawthorn, Hawthorn didn't rule out today. Mackenzie, their list manager, didn't rule it out. I have to wait and see there. Brandon could be anywhere now. Jeremy, we mentioned him, Finlayson before. We mentioned Will Brody, Lewis Young, Pension 16. Ollie Hanrahan will end with 50-50. Say the Hawks. There's been rumoured there's been some interest of Carlton, who are into small forwards. Linked to Stengel, linked to Hanrahan. He's out of contract at the Hawks, I believe. So that one could end up happening. And any other trades that happen, I do a live Q&A on and off on here on YouTube. Leave your thoughts down below. I may answer it in the live stream this evening. And on the Facebook, you can always do a live Q&A, trade Q&A till the end of the trade period every day. Weekends, I'm not sure, but every day while it's active, it will and probably will, to be honest, on the weekend. So you can always ask me your trade questions anytime, not just through a post. You can always send me a message if you're not blocked. That's the long, lengthy trade wrap. I'll go to the trade period. If you thought that was a lot, I want to go through it in a lot of detail after the trade period ends next Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Now, it's time. Oh, it's time. My chat with the very impressive winner of season 1 of The Recruit, the football show, The Recruit, and a former player, Johan Yoey Wagner. Enjoy and leave your thoughts down below. Today on the show, we have Johan Wagner, who you may have known from The Recruit, the TV show, the sports show.
The winner of The Recruit, going through to the special NAB AFL draft and about to sign his first AFL contract is Johan Wagner! Let's find out what clubs want to draft you. We have Gold Coast Suns, we have GWS Giants, and we have Port Adelaide. Okay, Yoey.
Yeah, I can't really shy away from staying in the home state, I don't reckon, so I'm going to stick with Port Adelaide, I reckon.
It's Port Adelaide, everyone!
Yoey, thanks for coming on.
Cheers, Coop. Thanks for having me, mate.
Well, first of all, speaking of The Recruit, we might as well start with that. What was it like to be on The Recruit? What type of process did you have to go through to get on there?
Yeah, it was a very interesting time in my life, that was. Basically, I was playing football in Port Lincoln, where I currently live now. Did have a pretty handy football season that year and thought I might try my hand at SANFL. So I was going to relocate to Adelaide. We actually had a family friend in Michael Dowdy who played for the Crows. He was a player manager at the time and probably still is. And he was my player manager when I was at Port. But he had this contest come across his desk, which was called, obviously, The Recruit. I was a bit, sort of not sure how to take that when I first seen it. And I thought, well, bugger it, I'll give it a crack. So basically you had to be, weren't allowed to have played SANFL footy in the last 12 months, I think it was. You basically had to be a raw country footballer. And that was what they were looking for. So it fitted my profile. And then basically I entered that and had to send in photos, just accolades, things like that, sort of pumping yourself up, I guess, to a degree. And then they selected me in the South Australian side. And then I had to do a fitness test at Alberton Oval. And then I proceeded from that, and it turned into another fitness test in Collingwood's. And it's funny, I was actually doing this pre-season with Central Districts at the time. And I don't know if you know Roy Laird. He coached Central District for years. Yeah, very good coach. He was coaching me at the time. And I was sneaking off to do these, training camps on a Sunday after doing my 4 week of SANFL pre-season. So I actually flew to Melbourne on a Sunday, snuck off. It was about 8 hours of training. And then, 250 people, I think, were at that's training. So it's quite a number of footballers. And then, when I got there, I was a bit nervous. There's a lot of footballers here and didn't know where I sort of sat, and tested pretty well. And then obviously made the top 50. So next thing I'm like, right, I'm on the show now. Like, I have to tell Roy Laird. So I sat in the office with him and I said, I've been selected to go on this TV show, mate. And obviously they'd recruited me as their full forward for the year, so they weren't very happy about it. They weren't very happy to the degree where I actually declined going on the show. Okay. And then anyway, it turned out Michael Voss called me when I was at work, And I was answered it. I'm like, "G'day, Yoey speaking." He's like, "Yeah, Michael Voss here." And I was like, "Bloody hell! Not every day you get a phone call from one of the greatest footballers."
That's right.
And he goes, "Oh, I've heard you don't want to go on the show, mate. What's the issue?" And I said, "Oh, I'm actually being recruited to play at Central Districts this season, and they're not real keen for me to go." And he just said, "Leave that up to me." So you can imagine what kind of phone call that would have been. So
process to have gone through, obviously, the Central Districts, and it was jam-packed training and then sneaking off to Melbourne. Was there any particular teammates or people that didn't end up in the actual show that you got along with throughout the whole journey, or any people from SA joined you to recruit?
I was actually the only one from South Australia on the show. So, but I'm still keeping regular contact with Gossie and Morlow and Ryan Semmel. There's Smithy from Perth. It's actually kept in contact with a few of them, which has been pretty good. I actually probably keep in more contact with them than the Port Adelaide players. Obviously that over's been a bit. I did make really good friendships from that, and we were all just country footballers, just trying to have a crack. So we all got along really well, and I think, the show probably tried to pin us against each other, and we chose to stick. So I think they tried to dramatise it. Yeah,
a lot of these type of shows do like to over-dramatise things. Just watch any show on Channel 9 and then you'll see over-dramatising things. The things on that. So you mentioned Michael Voss before. What was it like working with him, Ben Dixon, and Darren Burgess of note?
Yeah, no, it was quite surreal when I first got there, and you're working with these elite AFL players and fitness coaches. So it was quite amazing at the time, and you sort of reflect back on it now and gained a lot of knowledge from it in the short amount of time that I did it. Like Burjo, obviously one of the best. He's what he's done with Melbourne this year, and there's no secrets as to why they were so fit. He's one of the best in the world. And Michael Voss was just his intake on footy and his knowledge, and he's a beast of a man. And Dicko's quite a character. He was sort of more like your larrikin and very smart, really very knowledgeable, but off camera, ripping bloke.
Speaking of Voss, obviously, I mentioned him that you would have been probably happy to see him get the gig at Carlton.
Yeah, no, very happy for him. No, I think he's. I really wish him the best. He was really good for me when he come to Port, and it was a bit of a weird. How it worked out was just very odd, but he was really good for me at Port, and I do wish him all the best. So,
who was in the recruit? Who was the best player, or not so much the best player, but the most enjoyable person to team up with, or do the programs with, and who was the worst, or some of the worst?
If you're going to go for larrikins, but very good footballer, it'd be Gossie.
Yeah.
Probably if I'm going to go for the most skilled and talented footballer on the show, which I probably think deserved to win it, was Morlow.
Yeah.
He was probably, I'd regard him as one of the probably most natural footballers on the show. Very skillful, very talented. He's done a lot with his footy in Victoria, in the country, and probably in regards to me, I probably had a bit more power and what clubs are looking for at the time, and like excitement. But as far as natural footballers go, I think he was hands down the best on the show.
You mentioned about your time at Port Adelaide. Obviously, unfortunately, only lasted a year, but year's better than nothing. What I'm assuming I know the answer to this, but I've got to ask it anyway. Why did you choose Port Adelaide? Obviously, you had three clubs: GWS, Gold Coast, and Port offered. I'm assuming you tipped Port because you're from South Australia.
I get this question a fair bit, actually. Even after, even now, it's, do you wish you went to Gold Coast or something like that? And I did tip Port because I lived in South Australia and also had a fiance at the time who was. We were quite young, and I wasn't sure if we would be all right living away in a different state. So we chose to stay in South Australia, which was a good decision for me. And then it didn't work out AFL-wise, but I learned a lot and probably grew more as a person from being at Port. But in hindsight, when you look at that list at Gold Coast that year, I think everyone was injured, and I'm pretty certain if you look back, everyone played. So I may have probably squeezed the game in if I went there, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I learned so much at Port, and I grew mentally as a person, and took a lot back to my hometown here in Port Lincoln and through coaching kids and that.
So I think before you probably build a better connection through the guys at the recruit in Port Adelaide, but is there any guys at all at Port that you may still keep in contact or that have moved on from Port even?
It's been a massive list turnover from Port, so pretty much every player I was there with isn't really there now. But yeah, Cam O'Shea and Jasper Pittard are the ones. Jared Redden, he was another one, and yeah, there was some good people there as well. But just found it was a difficult time coming in from a different, unorthodox way to come into the AFL. Probably wasn't treated as such, which is fair enough. And I think you're there and you got to earn your spot and you got to earn your respect from people. And here's a bloke who's just come in from a TV show, so you can understand that.
So after your time at Port Adelaide, did you go back to playing sample footy or did you go back to local?
No, they did ask me to hang around and play for the Maggies, but I was sort of, I just enjoyed living in the country, that lifestyle. Just working in my normal job as a Sparky and playing footy on the weekends was just far more enjoyable for me. Probably one thing I didn't really like about SNFL and the AFL system, which may be different now, was you sort of finish your game and you don't really go back and socialise as a club. Whereas obviously back in the country, it's you play your footy, your netball, you go out to the club rooms after, you have tea, have a couple of beers, and chew the fat together and have a good time. So that's probably one thing I miss the most, and that's what I wanted to get back to, and that lifestyle.
So, what was I going to say? So, did you grow up going for Port Adelaide as a kid, or were you a Crows or someone else?
I started as a Crows supporter. I was born in 1990, so Port weren't formed, and started off as Crows. And as soon as the power come in, I jumped ship, and I was a bit too young to remember that, but I do remember having some Crows gear early on. But been Port ever since. So I actually wrote myself a letter to myself saying that I'd be a Port Adelaide player one day. And I didn't think that would ever come true when I got to 23, and then all of a sudden, I was on their list. So
was there ever a time in that 1 year at Port Adelaide that you thought that you were a genuine chance to make a debut, or did it not really look like it was going to happen even through? Probably not. I knew selecting them that it was going to be a tough gig with the lists of players that they had in their forward lines. And I'm a natural full forward when I play, so I had to play out of position. I obviously wasn't tall enough to play that position at that level, so I had to learn to play defensive half forward role, which if anyone that's played that knows it's one of the tougher roles. You're sort of chasing the half back, covering them off, then the ball goes over your head and you're trying to get front and centre for the forward. So I think the most kilometres I ran one game was like 14 Ks something for like 3 touches. So it was an area where you weren't rewarded much and you had to do a lot of defensive running. So I wasn't getting a lot of the footy, found it tough in that role. And didn't think I was a genuine chance, and probably doubted myself a lot. Probably played some of my worst footy ever there because I had a lot of self-doubt mentally. So now we turn back to now you're playing at local footy at the moment. Where was the club you were playing at again?
So I play at Cummins Kapini, which is the Cougars. Yep.
So you had a very good year team-wise and individually. Now you tell me that the week before the grand final, you were on 97 goals. Is that right?
Yeah, 97 goals. Yep. So I'd been averaging about eight goals a game. So a lot of people were saying you should get it, and I got very lucky. I kicked my 100th in the last 10 minutes of the game, so on the grand final.
A bit of mixed feelings. So you had the individual milestone, which was great, and a rare achievement doing probably the last AFL I played was maybe Buddy, I think. So very hard to get to 100 in any league, whether that's AFL, VFL, local footy, anywhere. So it was very hard to get. But so how much did you guys lose in the grand final by?
We lost by 3 points, so it would have been good to kick 101 goals, I reckon. But it was like you said, it is tough in any league to do it, and we had a COVID shortened season, so we only ended up playing 13 games for the year. So we ended up having a bit of a scare with COVID, not as much as what you guys have been copping in Victoria, but they ended up taking 2 games off us, and So it was a shortened season, and yeah, well, it was a sad end of the season for us. We hadn't lost a game all year, and we'd come up short by 3 points. So she was a pretty depressing night after that.
Is there any teammates you want to throw under the bus for costing you the game, or was it there a particular moment where someone missed a shot that could have won you the game? Or
I think there's moments in all facets of the game. I mean, I missed a shot right out in front, actually lining up for my 100th, probably in the second quarter, and you lose by a goal. So yeah, there's moments in the game you can pick from any part of it that could make the difference at the end of the game. When there's a kick in it, you can pick apart any part of the game, and yeah, that'll be you could throw anyone under the bus. So if anyone had to throw on a bus, I'd throw myself under, because I missed that one out in front.
I should be very proud of yourself. As I said, 100s are rare to get in any league, and a very good achievement, Yoey. So congratulations on that. Power, obviously, you said you've been a Port fan now, and you were a Crows fan. What are your overall thoughts of the Power and Crows this year?
Yeah, Port, very good, but yeah, it's not good enough. So I think they'd be obviously disappointed. And I think there's a few older players there that really thought that they were a genuine chance. And it's such a long season to get to do all that and get so close. It's 2 years in a row. I was at the Richmond game last year where they lost by 6 points, I believe.
Yep.
To get in, and that was full on. That was disappointing. And same again this year. And to lose like that was, yeah, I'm sure Ken has probably sat down and had a few words with them. Yeah, the Crows are in a fair bit of a rebuilding phase at the moment. I mean, they're getting a couple of blokes that want to go there at the moment. I think one from Sydney. I think he wants to go there, and which is good. They need that. So, I mean, as an SA boy, I want all the SA teams to do well. So,
what did you expect the grand final to pan out? How did with Melbourne destroying the Bulldogs?
I did. I thought if there was a team to blow it out, I thought Melbourne would be the team. I didn't think, like, in the last quarter and a half they'd kick a score like that, and that it was impressive to watch. They're a good team to watch. Even in the prelim when they beat Geelong, Geelong just looked like they weren't. And I've never seen Geelong like that. For a team to do that to them it's pretty insane, and it's exciting to watch. I've watched many games where teams win by that much, where you're actually excited to watch, and the two games where they've belted someone, it's actually interesting footy because they play fast, quick, and they attack. They don't just play slow footy. Even when they're up, they attack, and that's what supporters want to see.
So now, we'll wrap up with this. Final five. Who would you say is your top five off the top of your head in the competition? I'm sure there'll be some that we'll forget and go, shit, I should have mentioned them. But who do you reckon could be the top 5 players in the comp? Or a mixture
I'd have
of?
to say, right now, you've obviously got Christian Petrarca, Ollie Wines. You'd have to have Clayton Oliver there. And then I'd probably go, as a forward, I'd go Aaron Norton. He's unreal to watch. So what's that? That's 3, that's 4. Aaron Norton. And then as a backman, I'd probably go Alir. Yep. And if you want to throw ruckman in there, I'd go Max Gawn.
There's been a lot of good ruckman this year. Obviously, Gawn was one. Sean Darcy was pretty good at Freo. And Brody Grundy people had mixed answers of him. I mean, for his stance, he probably wasn't his best, but I still thought he was pretty solid. Any final thoughts you got?
Just appreciate the contact, mate, and looks like you're doing a good job. Obviously got a lot of followers on your Facebook page, and keep up what you're doing, and appreciate you having me on, and I hope you get some more AFL players that are currently listed as well. Would be good, and it's good that you give me the time for a yarn with you.
Just quietly too, had a few GT clubs have to go through their club managers or media managers, and I haven't had much luck, but hopefully got some more in the future, and everyone can tune in then. Appreciate it again, Yoey, for coming on.
Good work, mate. Appreciate it.
Well, guys, the chat with Yoey, Johan Wagner, the former Port player, the winner of the season 1 of the Recruit. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Yoey. He was a great guy, as you've seen. Really appreciate him coming on. You know, went through a lot of topics, went through his time at Port, time on the Recruit. A lot of things we went through, his relationship with Michael Voss, a whole lot of other things. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you want any more guests in the future, Please let me know here in the comments section down below. Send me a Facebook message, whoever you want to get. I'm always trying to get a lot of guests on, sometimes with some luck, sometimes without any luck. But yeah, we have to wait and see. So my final thoughts are this. You want me on Cameo, head to cameo.com/Cooper G merch, Starby holders, stickers, mugs, hats, t-shirts, hoodie, everything is on there. There's plenty of merch for you guys to get. But there's one thing I want to say also to finish off. There could be a big trade news story. Could there be a bombshell? Not so sure, but you'll have to tune in to find out till next Wednesday night for the trade period to end. Now, also, as I mentioned, I shouldn't have said it this way, but I've said it now, so bad luck. But the merch, as I mentioned, all the merch, plenty of tops. A lot of the tops are selling well lately. With Christmas not far around the corner, recommend you get your merch in. You want it delivered before Christmas. Recommend you start getting your merch in. Now, I'm not saying that in a month's time, if you ordered in a month's time, you can't get it by Christmas, you could. But to, increase your chance of getting it much earlier, why not jump on now? Doesn't have to be for Christmas. It can be for a birthday. It could be for anything, just because you want it. Send it for a mate. You want to take it as a piss take. You want to give them the shits and make them have my bumper sticker with my face on it saying you're blocked. And maybe you are blocked and you're watching this. So get your sticker to represent the blocked people, community that are blocked. Get your block sticker. Because if you're blocked, you should get the sticker. Anyone should get it. But guys, appreciate you all for watching. All the negativity will be ignored from now on. It's only positive thoughts and acknowledging the positive comments. And of course, if I'm going to acknowledge the positive comments, there's one thing you guys can do for me. Other than this, the most important thing to remember is go the Saints. And of course, as I was just about to say, there's one thing you should do other than liking and subscribing to the channel and leaving a comment. There's one thing else to do before you leave this live stream in today. I want to see everyone comment with a thumbs up and everything. And also to acknowledge me. See you next week, guys. Go Saints.